How are you introducing them?
I'm just going to say, hi, everyone. Welcome. I don't know. Welcome to my podcast.
Wow,
That's how I'm going to say it.
Cool you are.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We have a special guest today.
Very special.
Very special. He is an actor, producer, director, amazing human being, my teacher, and just the person who made me the person I am today.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Yes, that's me. Thank you. It's overwhelming.
We're not going to pretend like we didn't have a conversation before that.
Yes, like I just walked in here.
Yes, I was going to ask you. You just had your audition today.
Yes. It was a meeting. It was more of a meeting with it sounds so LA and actor-y douchey, but it really was actually a meeting with a director who was a writer.
Yeah.
And he and also adding douchey, he reached out to me on Instagram, which is just crazy. But yes, he did. He reached out to me on Instagram. Yeah. We had a mutual friend that I did a movie with, and like, you know, when people say like, you know, it's who you know, but like that really was like work through a movie that I did that I really loved, and she recommended me for this movie, and I read it and I really liked it, and I think in some ways I probably I almost wish I didn't like it as much, because like it's a lot of work, which is awesome, and but like the pay's not great, which is okay. I'm fine. It really isn't about the money. But like when you start like taking a large chunk of your time, you're kind of like, it's a little bit about the money. Then like,
do you usually negotiate when you don't like the rate?
well, that's our agent. That'll be my agent's deal. Like if it goes farther, but like I really did like it, and I really do like the movie, and so like I want to try to make it work, but like there's also like a lot of prep that's required because of the way it's written and everything like that.
Can you actually talk a little bit about this, and also about your audition process when you get your audition from your agent? What do you usually do the morning before, as soon as you enter the room? Like, what's your...
I mean, a lot of it's so different. Like, and that's like what's so weird is like, I feel like a dinosaur now, because I also feel like I really do remember the time before. And like, it really was before COVID. Like, I'd say probably 90% of my auditions before COVID were in person.
Yeah.
And I had been in LA for, you know, almost 20 years at that point, 18, 19 years. And I had been an actor most of that time in LA, like having agents and stuff. So, you know, talking 17-ish years or something of going in person and going to in-person auditions, and then, you know, thousands. And then COVID happened, and 100% of my auditions have been online. So like, it's like a completely different model. And like, the structure of it's so different. I am nowadays, I was always this way, but like I really do prioritize it. Like if I get an audition, it is everything else in my life stops.
Really?
Yeah,
So
I drop whatever else I got going on. I mean, of course I have like responsibility. Like I'm not like
you're a dad.
I have like a dad. I'm a dad. Like I'm not like just gonna be like, sorry, no food. Like you don't get dinner. But kind of like a little bit. My wife can always tell. She's always like, "Oh, you have an audition. You're so annoying," because like I get really like, but I also get them done really fast. Like I just did. I can say this. I just did the Wizards of Waverly Place, like the new season of it.
Congrats.
And thank you. And which is cool.
Yeah.
But like I got the audition, and like. It was like a big guest star, and it was a bunch of dialogue. And I remember by the time I got it memorized, taped, and sent was like maybe like 3 hours, 2.5 hours after I got the audition.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
That's what I've been doing for the last couple of years with auditions, is like getting it, just getting to work, getting it up, getting it out, sending it off. Because I don't know. I like to work and I like to get it done. I like to be efficient, but I also kind of go like, of course there's elements of times where like it's not clicking fast enough, so I need another day or so. But I just think like how many people are being seen now? Like how many auditions are now being seen and accepted because they can be like, hi, my name is, hi, I'm James. Hi, my name's Clarissa. Like I haven't even, you just, so many people can go through an audition now. just have a really hard time believing that they're not seeing it pretty quickly. And like, if they put it out on Thursday and the deadline is by Monday, get it in Thursday or Friday. Be one of the people that they're like, I got it. Why are you gonna be Monday at the end? I don't know.
Yeah.
And I could be wrong on that, but like, I also just feel like it's worked for me, and I also don't want to just like spend the next 5 days of my life
Thinking
like,
about it.
what are my audition lines?
No, I agree. I've noticed that too. If I submit right away, I usually book it. If I don't, then they're like,
because I also think like on the other side of it, like I would, if I'm putting stuff out there, I want somebody that seems like hungry and seems dedicated and seems eager and seems excited and seems like they want to do this and like quickly put it at the top of their priority list. Like, you know, I think that's a big deal. So going back to when I was talking to that director, it was like, you know, I was telling him about like, I don't think he's fully, I don't know if he's realizing, but like how much work now the actor has. Like we shoot for 3 weeks, but the actor probably has 3 or 4 weeks of memorizing. That's how much this is. And he was like, and the producer were both like, wow, we haven't heard it like that when we've like been talking about this with other people. No one said it like that. We haven't really factored in like, oh yeah, the actor can't just like show up. And listen, we can for some things. There are absolutely plenty of things that you can just like show up for. Like you have a few scenes, you have a few lines, you have a little bit of here. It's improv. Or the scene isn't that complicated. Sure, you probably kind of like show up and look, you're like, big, I got it. Got 3 lines today. How hard is that? This is very different kind of material. So it's like really detailed, really wordy.
then I'm going to ask you
you have questions
that I've prepared that people are interested
in. Are those
in.
olives?
Yeah, because that's my brand.
Olives?
What's my name, Mr. Chambers?
Olivia. Okay.
Let's go. Let's
Okay.
go. Everybody calls me. This is Alivichka. That's what people call
Olivchka.
me. Oh,
Olivchka.
Alivichka.
Olivchka.
Alivichka.
That's what people call you?
Yeah.
Where?
That's what on social media.
Olivchka.
Alivichka. That's like
Is that what your mom calls you?
Yeah. My mom, my friends. It's like a nice way to call me, like sweet way.
I'm trying to think of like what would be like. Okay, so my daughter's name is Kai. We call her Kai Kai.
Oh, really?
And it's not like that creative,
but in
just
Russian,
like repeat her name twice. But like it's not that.
Wow.
But I know. But like my mom used to call me like my mom used to call like Adam, right? But she used to call me Ammon. Like was
Ammon?
it Ammon? That was like she was like Ammon. Like that was like my mom. Like when I was a little kid, like she was like Ammon, come here. Like that was her like Alivshka.
Oh, that's very sweet.
Okay, so now I get it. But I was like,
Russia,
olives are my bread. Got it.
And just your name because I'm doing it with you.
How clever!
Because we're actors.
Well, you don't want to. You how cool!
And I couldn't
you don't want
cut
to
it
forget
right,
my
so
name.
it's not straight. And
Yes.
I tried like 3 times.
That's great.
It was bigger. I just couldn't cut it straight.
Perfect.
But
It's your first episode.
it's my first episode.
Yeah.
And so I guess like the very popular question is,
Ooh.
do you think people from Russia or from any other non-English speaking country can realistically make it in Hollywood?
No, I'm just kidding.
Hey, I'm signed.
You guys are all screwed. No, I'm just kidding. Of course I do. Of course I do. Like I think that it would be so, first of all, wrong and arrogant of me to be like, no, none of you can make it. You guys are weird. That'd be so rude and like not true, right? Like that'd be so ridiculous. I think that like it will always come down. This is awesome, actually. I love it. I'm excited to say this. I recently was interviewing an agent and a manager, and I was asking them about like young performers. Like, how do you guys get? What do you look for in like young performers? Right? Like, what is the thing? How would they get your attention? You know what I mean? Like, what's the deal? And of course, this is like certainly debatable, but like, and certainly not for everybody. But they said something that I'll never forget because they said it. And they were like, right at this point, it's like, if it's not fuck yeah, it's no.
Makes sense.
Totally, right? It makes so much sense.
Makes
Like,
so much sense.
but like, they were also saying they're like, yeah, we used to take a lot more like kind of flyers on people and like try on somebody, or maybe like, we'll maybe over time, like or we'll try and see what happens. Maybe, I don't know. Right. But like why?
Yeah.
And I get that. Like if it's not fuck yeah, it's no. And so like that should apply for everybody. Like, and I think that does apply for everybody. Like, I don't think accents or any of that stuff really matters. Obviously, like it can limit, but in the same way that there's a bunch of stuff I can't play. There's a bunch of things I can't, no one's gonna believe me playing, right? And like I could do whatever I want to do, but like I recently auditioned for this part that was like, I don't know. He was like this. At first when I got it, I was like, how did I get this audition? Like, what is happening? Because it doesn't usually happen, because it's usually pretty recycled. Kind of, I see it. I can understand it. But he was like this like trainer of like CIA, like militant guys. And he was like boxing. He was like they're like master trainer or whatever. And I was like, what the fuck? Like I was like in like a boxing ring with him, and I was like, yeah, and I was like punching this girl, and I was like training her up, and I was like, he's all muscly, and I was like, what have I seen? Like I'm not that like, right? Like, so like,
I'm not saying yeah to that, but
yeah, but like
I'm pretty sure you can do it.
But like
amazing.
I could act.
Yeah.
Like I can do it, but like I know that there's other people that just right away would be like way better for that. That just like maybe box, like just like in real life, and like maybe like MMA or something, or like are a little more like, ooh, let's go, like militant and military. Like I'm not those things. I'm like a dancer singer guy. Like I'm not I'm not like, I'm much more like, let's sing. Like I'm not like, let's fight. Like, so of course I could act, but like that's kind of how I think of it. Like there are things that like you can do naturally better than other people, and then vice versa. So I still think it's about the talent at the baseline of it. Like, can you, you know, if you can't do a Southern accent from like your Russian accent to a Southern accent, okay, then you're not going to get the part.
I just had the audition where I had to.
And?
I asked Nikki to read the lines for me so I can memorize them in Southern accent.
And how do you think it went?
I didn't get it.
Right, exactly, right? So it's like, okay, well, there are some things that you're like, it's not really my thing. Like there was like a weird one I got that was like, I had to turn over the audition really quickly.
Oh, really?
There was a lot of words. It was like a lot of dialogue. And it was like, do the next day kind of thing. And it was like French Canadian. And I was like, and he like had a thick French Canadian accent. And I was like, French Canadian. And I was like, I started, and that's one of those ones where you just kind of start like throwing something at the wall and going like,
whatever.
We'll see. Like, we'll see. Like, I don't have a whole lot of time to get this right, you know, and then you just kind of go like, what's my Canadian kind of sound like? Like, okay, like, thanks for having me here. That's nice. And then you start like throwing French on it. And you're like, thank you for having me. Like, it starts getting really weird and sounding. And you're like, am I sound insane? And you self-tape, you send it, and you're like, we'll see.
Yeah. Did you get it?
No. But I thought I did a pretty good job of like it. But it just, you know, who knows why I didn't get it. It could have been, maybe I didn't do a good job of it, but maybe I just wasn't right, you know? There's so many other reasons.
Never happens.
Never happens. I book everything.
But actually, you're the reason why I'm not scared of my accent anymore. Did you know that?
Really?
Fun fact, yeah, because when we were, remember our first exam play, we did it together. You were directing my first exam play. I don't know if you remember that.
The one that like had like I like pretending like there was a fake staircase.
Yes.
Yeah. Home fire. It's actually not that bad, but
yeah, that was pretty fun.
Yeah, we had a good time.
And that was the first time we actually worked together. No, because I had a class with you, but I sucked because I was scared.
But you were charming.
Thank you.
You've always been charming.
You think so?
Oh my gosh, charm's why we're here, isn't it?
Really?
Of course.
Keep talking.
Charm your way to everything, and I think that's the best way to be in life.
Really?
Yeah.
I think so too.
When you're like, I can't do it, but I'm very nice and I'm fun. I'm a good time. And people are like, you know what? You're right. I'd rather have fun anyway. Fuck it. I don't care about her stupid accent.
But I could tell you didn't like me at the beginning because
That is absolutely ridiculous.
Oh, really?
Yes.
No, I wasn't doing a good job at your class.
No, liking you is not the truth. That's actually genuinely not true. I always liked you.
Really?
Just whether you were like good or not is different.
Yeah.
Right? That was totally different. There's such a difference. Like I could tell that like you were nice.
Yeah.
You were always sweet. You were always funny.
Thank
you
you.
were always like willing to make fun of yourself. Like you were always like self-aware to be like
Self-aware.
you were always like, I know, whatever. You were always funny. So that was always funny. But like, you know, brand new student at acting school coming from on the other side of the world. Yeah, probably feeling a little intimidated.
Yeah.
Probably feeling a little overwhelmed. Probably not feeling like you know enough confident,
100%.
confident in just what's happening.
Yeah.
Even just even like the language alone, just like, am I getting all of this?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
It takes a while to get jokes
yeah.
and humor and all those things. But no, you were never like a student that like wasn't like, you were always a student that was like nice and cared.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But that's true. Yeah, I always was.
I was never so, and that's easy. That's the only that's the only reason I'd be here right now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, I've grown since then.
Yeah, but the thing is the quality of human was always there.
Oh,
The person's
you.
always been nice, always been sweet, always been kind and funny, and like that was the first thing. You know what? Actually, I'll say this because I actually this is it's a long way to go for a compliment, but hold with it because I think it's a big deal why we're here, why you're still here. I talk about this a lot, and it's something that I've talked about since you've graduated, so I don't think you've heard this. But I think a lot of people are stuck on something in the world. Like they walk through this world stuck on, I don't know, an accent, a dad issue, a relationship, a relationship, money, self-conscious, imposter syndrome, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
And I think that what people don't realize is that like right behind that thing that they're leading through this world, they're leading through the world stuck on something. So the first thing the world is getting is this like bullshit that they just walk in the room with. And I actually think most people are stuck on something. And like right behind it, as cheesy as this sounds, like right behind that layer is like why your best friend likes you so much. And like if you can just get that to be the first thing, like it's infectious. And that starts being the best quality. And I mean this, you've always led with that first.
Thank
that
you.
like very fun, sweet, let's just have a good time and be like, let's not take ourselves too fucking seriously. Like, come on now, right? Like that was always at the forefront. So I think for so many people, they're able to go, who cares? She's funny.
Yeah.
She's fun. She's sweet. And that like wins 100% over the time. So someone sees beyond that and they're like, okay, so she's a little self-conscious about her act, or she doesn't know all these things yet. Fuck all that shit.
Yeah.
We'll get there because she's funny. We'll get there because she's sweet. She wants to be, or she's hungry. It's crazy how much of a difference that makes.
Thank
because
you.
so many people will go, but I'll do what I'm stuck on. It's very real.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And I think, as I've said before, as I've mentioned before, you're the big reason why I was able to, like to actually show my personality, to actually show like who I am. I was too scared. I was too self-conscious, and I was super lucky with my section though. Every single person in my first section, super sweet, always like, oh, you don't understand this word, let me explain. You're not pronouncing it right, let me help. So I was very lucky, but still, all of your classmates are American, and
Right.
it's easier for them to improv, to write better things, right? And when they just tell you, okay, the next day, write something, write a scene, and you're like, damn, I first need to like check if I'm grammatically correct. Right. And then think about the creativity of it.
And typing and sarcasm and jokes and all that stuff.
I remember, I don't know if you remember that, but for your class, first semester, we did a scene with Timea, and you were like, good energy, but check with your American friends if these jokes land.
Right.
Because like we don't understand your rhythm.
Your rhythm isn't, yes.
It's a little off. But then I had you as my director, and honestly, my parents adore you for a lot of reasons, and for this reason. And parents always know about your friends, about people that you talk to. Sometimes they're like, I don't like your friend, and they're always 100% right. You as a parent, you know it, right? And they've always loved you. They always like, how's Mr. Chambers? How is he doing? And they just felt like the first year, when I was a first year, right? I was in this weird headspace because I was, they know me. You know me now, right? This is the way I am. But I was like, eh. And your class has always been like the safest place. I don't remember a single day. Sometimes before the rehearsal, you'll have a rehearsal.
Yeah.
Not a single time. I've always been so excited. I've always been like, oh my gosh, like I have an audition. Oh, I have a rehearsal with Mr. Chambers. We're gonna have so much fun, and you're so.
Why do you think that? I'm actually genuinely, I appreciate that, but I'm also curious, like, what is it about it that made it that way?
When you, as soon as you walk into the room, your classroom, right? You always make sure everybody feels welcome, feels good. You always pick up on everybody's mood. You know, if you notice something, you go, talk to me, what's up? Right away. Talk to me, what's up, right? Or you are I understand that it's also part of it. It's for character work, but also you're always interested how we're doing, what makes you laugh, what makes you happy, what makes you bothered, right? You always do the circles, remember, when we talk about each other, and it just feels like home. For that felt like home. First year, you know, I was so scared and I really wanted to go home to see my parents. And every single time I entered the room, I was like, I want to stay here. Like, it's fun. He makes it fun, you know, he cares, and I feel safe. And I remember like going back,
You're good.
Oh, I have 56 seconds. And going back to my accent, I remember that I was like very like scared to act.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh my gosh, you're doing a good job. Forget about your accent. Salma Hayek has an accent. Who cares?
Who cares?
And you just like looked at me and you were like, who cares? You were doing a good job. And I was like, yeah, I actually am doing a good job.
Yeah.
And then it just, you know, I remember it just something switched in my head. And I was like, yeah, fuck it. Like, I have an accent. So what? Deal with it. As long as you understand me, I'm good. You know, I'm doing my job. I know it.
It's interesting that you said what you said about why you felt safe. I asked you because or why you liked it so much. I had you as a student before the world ended, before the pandemic. Don't know if it's something that is just on me changing, or also like the temperature of students has changed so much that like it was good to hear that, because I'm like, maybe I need to remind myself of that as well for them, because you know we're spending a lot more time these days having to convince people to act, having to convince people to have fun, having to convince people to enjoy. Like, I'm spending more time being like, come on, let's do the thing that you came here to fucking do. Like, why am I having to talk about this so much, as opposed to like where we were at, which is we were all excited to be here. So now it's like, do you tell your scene partners why, you know, where you're from and what about you, and getting you to the next phase, which is like, let's get you past the self-conscious phase of like the accent. Let's just get you to remember that you're funny and you're cool and you can be talented as well. We're spending a lot more time in the last few years, I think, specifically just having to be like, come on, guys. I started pulling this idea out of students, and I've probably done it to like 2,000, 3,000 people now, whether it's like at a motivational speech somewhere, or I'm going into as a guest to go in to speak somewhere, or just all the classes I teach, you know, 1,000 actors, 1,500 actors a year, or something like that. I asked them to get their phones out on day one and tell me their screen time. And this is crazy. This is wild. And what kind of got it going is like, and this is like really, if people can hear this, I hope people can hear this, because I think if they do hear it kind of condensed this way, they might be like, whoa. No, also keep watching, because we're doing a podcast, we might watch. But like, but the idea is like, how much time are we spending? And so like everyone throws out their numbers. And like the average is around 5 hours a day. The shortest time that I've heard is like an hour 40, like, you know, but I've heard like 17 and 18,
Whoa.
20. Even. I've heard like the average is like 14, you know. Oh gosh, right? And like somebody will be like, you know, then you'll ask them what they're stuck on, and they'll be like, my mental health and my like motivation. I was like, well, I'm not a doctor, but you're spending 14 hours a day on your phone. Maybe we have a problem, right? But like, then if we just take that number for 5 hours as the average, you take that number and you just like speed that up over the last 6 years. This is crazy. So every 7 days that goes by, one full day is gone. Just gone. Like just full awake, alert, participate, do something special in life is gone. You take that and you take it to 6 weeks and it's a whole week. And then you take that to a year and it's 2 months. Then you take that to 6 years and it's 2 years. And it just goes. And this doesn't even include like what you're watching and whether it's hopefully like motivating you or inspiring you or whatever. Maybe it's just funny, but also like maybe what you're watching is really fucked up, or maybe what you're watching is really sad or depressing and it's not helping you, right? But then more than anything, what you can start looking at that from a time frame is being like, there's just, okay, so now if that's 18 and 19-year-old people that are coming into college and coming into the profession, working profession, well, we've already openly, factually admitted that you're 2 years behind.
Yeah.
Because you've literally just given up 2 years. I mean, there is 2 years of not doing. And when you think about what you could do in 2 years, man, when you think about like you could have written multiple plays, multiple movie scripts, you could have filmed a movie, you could have learned multiple instruments, you could have learned a lot of other skills other than that. And that what's fascinating is, and I have them do that on day one. I tell them all, I'm going to check in at mid-semester, and most people's numbers are going to be worse. And most people's numbers are worse. Yet they see it, they hear it, they go, this sucks.
Yeah.
I don't want to suck this much.
Because I remember you've given us so many good advice that I follow to this day. Like every day, the way I do my characters, the way I like remember the 24-hour rule, 24 hours by.
So, don't think about it anymore. The idea with that is just like if you get a part, it's over. 24 hours, don't ever, you do or don't get it.
Yeah.
Just put it out of your mind. Don't give yourself 25 hours. Give yourself 24 hours tops and be done. Move on with your life.
Exactly. And I apply this to everything.
Has to be.
And everything. Because, it's bothering you. So why would it bother me? 24 hours, I'm moving on. I remember really well that you were trying to tell us that, like, yes, don't quit, but you also have to work hard. Because if you don't work, somebody's doing a better job than you, and they're not even as talented as you are. They're just doing a better job. They're just putting more effort into it.
They're working harder.
They're working harder, right? Like, even when I have a 12-hour day on set, I still wake up at 5 a.m. because I'm like, I need to post 4 videos today. I still need to do that, right? So
what got you thinking about doing this? Like what, because I think that, so like, it's fascinating to me because I taught a class at USC called Going Viral. That was the name of the class. I wasn't sure, and I was asked to teach it, and I was like, oh, this will be interesting because I have my own thoughts on this. But I was curious from the standpoint of like the students. So on day one, I was like, why did you take this class? Like, if you looked at all the names of all the classes at USC, there's like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of classes. That's probably the most annoying name of all the classes, right? That's probably the name that people would look at and go like, ugh, woof, right? Like gross, right? Or that would be like a lot of people's first, there's a class on this shit, like, right? It's so true though, right? Like a lot of people be like, I hate it. My wife's looking at it. But that was the thing is I asked them that same, why did you take this fucking class? And they all were like, I hate it. And so I want to not hate it.
Okay.
Like I feel like I feel like I need to be better at this. Or at least I want to get past how negative I feel about this. And so I was like, well, that's a good way for us to start because I also understand sort of the like initial impulse reaction of like something blows up on the internet that you do, right? And there's a difference between like a getting ready video with me where it blows up. What got you interested in wanting to sort of, I don't want to say pivot, but just add to?
I'm gonna say I've always wanted to have a platform. And it is pretty obvious that there are a lot of opportunities coming with it when you have a platform.
It's IMDb promotion. It's a way to get more photos and visibility of yourself out in the world.
They invite you to this networking events. You meet more people. You just put yourself out there, and it's something that I could do in my room, right?
What do you like doing the most?
I just love.
Like, is there something you like talking about, or like, is it a getting ready with me, or is it like eating something? Do you like?
I don't really do get readies with me. I usually post English stuff. That's what people love, like about accent or just like teaching them how I did it, or just like general like grammar rules, right? I also.
Oh, so you're talking mostly about like.
I have. Like, because I've built a platform, now I can expand it. I can just talk. Whenever I feel funny, I'll just grab a camera and make fun of myself and just like share something. Or I love talking about relationships and just giving advice. Like, don't think about it.
Are you in a relationship?
Not right now. Oh. I always talk to someone, but you
always talk to someone. You just always got one ready.
Yeah. I mean, I know I'm good looking. So it's never a problem.
Do you like Russian guys?
I do. I don't really mind. I don't really mind, but I mainly date American.
You're looking to get married?
No. I just got my visa.
You did? Nice.
Yeah. I just.
High five.
That was very.
I like that. High five.
That was good. Yeah, that's mainly what I post. Relationships. Oh, and I
Relationship advice?
relationship advice. Yeah,
Oh,
like I'm
nice.
mainly about like, oh, be a bitch. That's what I don't.
What did you just say?
Be a bitch.
Oh, I don't know. It kind of sounded Russian. So it was like, well, be a bitch. And I was like, what is be a bitch?
So a lot of people actually love asking this question. Is it better to like graduate here, or they can come from like other countries and be like, oh my gosh, I graduated from this university in my country. It's a non-English speaking country, right? Do you think it makes any difference? Do you think they care?
No, I don't think they care at all. I don't think it matters in any capacity. I think the one thing that like coming to, there's like some technical things that are kind of boring and not that exciting, but like maybe for some of the international people that do watch your stuff, like coming to school allows you to get like a student visa. And so that is a much easier way for you to like get here, live here, meet here, be here, right? And that has like a certain like time that it expires, as you know, right? So that's like what one of the big benefits of the school situation does for you. But do you have to do it that way? Absolutely not. But in general, if you're gonna go be an actor and you're gonna like, I want to do it, I want to go chase my dream. Of course, like there's bigger opportunities in LA and like and New York, but definitely in LA. And so like, if you are gonna just like cold come here and like just graduated from wherever country and then I'm gonna come here, you have to figure out quickly then, like how you can, it's not like get in the business, but like how you can like start meeting people. You have to start meeting people quickly then. School allows you to meet people. It makes you meet people.
Make connections.
It forces you to meet people and like puts you in schedules, puts you in routine, gets you into like, makes you meet Americans, right? Makes you like meet teachers, all these things. So it fundamentally just sets you up right away. But like, no, if you don't do that, like you have to like come here and like get into classes right away. You know what I mean? Like, you'd have to find like, I always like encourage people, like, I don't know about you, but like, do you, I'm actually curious about this. Do you like have like a Russian community here?
I do have my Russian friends.
Okay.
That
you met here.
I met them here.
And they were Russian, and then you were like, oh my gosh, here we go.
Yeah, but I don't really like, it was never the goal. My girls just came here from Russia to visit me, and they were friends before, and they just introduced me to them.
Okay.
Yeah, so, and they're all boys. It just happened so.
Right.
I would love to have a like all girls friend company, but it just hasn't happened yet. I would love to, but that's what I have, and I love them. They're amazing.
I just always like tell people, like, if you're from a different country, the cool thing about LA is like everybody's here.
Yeah.
Like, every culture's here.
Yeah.
So like if you're from anywhere, find that community here and start seeing if that resource can't help you, right? Like whether it's in like just getting a job or like maybe their friends know someone that's in the industry. Maybe somebody else knows somebody that's in the thing.
Exactly.
But like there is something to be said about like the like, where are you from? In the same way, as stupid as it is, but like in the same way that like whenever I find out a student is from San Diego, like immediately I'm like, oh, what up? Like, I'm like, I like you now. Like I just instantly like you. Now it doesn't always work out that way, but like I do immediately kind of go like, hey, I got you. I'm watching out for you. You know what I mean? And like, also don't fuck up. Don't be an idiot because you're from San Diego.
That's what you always say.
You know?
You remember that?
Yeah. Don't fuck up?
No, either. Yeah. Because when I was a first year, remember I told you that I was scared?
Yeah.
I was a little girl coming out of my shell. And whenever I would go perform, I would just go and you would be like, Olivia, I would turn around and be yes. And you go, don't fuck up.
Don't fuck up.
I go, oh, now I'm going to fuck up.
I know.
Now I'm scared.
I still say that to everybody before performances.
Why?
I go walk up.
It's so like,
I don't know. I don't, everyone that hears it is always like, whoa, dude. It's always like, God, I probably need a different saying, but I don't know. I kind of just feel like it's really direct. It's very much, there's like this like funny thing that I'm really into lately that does, I think this is really powerful at the same time. It's like, there's a real difference between direct and rude.
Oh, but and you're always direct.
And I try not to be rude.
You're not rude.
But people will misinterpret it because they want to.
Yeah.
And so when you're like, don't fuck up, like people like are like, I think that's rude. And you're like, no, it's pretty direct. Just don't fuck up. You got shit to do.
Yeah.
There's a show to do.
Yeah.
So don't fuck up.
Yeah, exactly.
Because at some point you're going to be the one talking in front of everybody. So don't fuck
So
up.
don't fuck up. Yeah,
So
so
don't
keep
fuck
that
up.
in mind. Keep that in mind.
Just keep it real simple and really to the point. Don't fuck up.
But I don't think that's rude. So whoever
I don't
says it's
either.
rude.
I don't either. Well, like, again, like there's a difference, right? Like, hey, I didn't like that. That's not good. That wasn't prepared. You weren't funny. Those aren't working. This isn't good. Start over. Wrong. Not the good dance.
Yeah.
You didn't dance right. You're not singing right. You're off key. Like these are direct ways that I definitely say things, being like, that's not good. Go back. Start over.
Because that's your class.
Because yeah, right.
I just wanted to add to this.
Yeah.
Whenever you're being direct, whenever you're like, okay, don't do that.
Yeah.
You're always giving other options. You're always doing that. I remember that very well because I remember when I fucked up the first time, you were like, okay, what was that? But you asked me, how was it? I was like, I sucked. You were like, yeah, good. But you
Congratulations.
Good, yeah.
We agree.
Yes. But you always give other options. You
Sure.
always ask good questions. And I've actually, before you, I've never worked with a director who always asks the right questions. You always know how to find, you always know how to help the student to find it within their little heads.
Yeah, within their little heads, like what's going on?
What's going on? Yeah, you've always been very good with it. So just going around and saying that you suck because you just being direct. Why didn't you think about the other part of it, right? When you've given other options. And I remember that I did this stand up, and remember I danced our national dance.
Yeah,
You remember that?
Yeah, I do remember that shit. That's crazy.
And that was fun.
Yeah.
And I felt good.
Yeah.
And it made me grow as a person, as an actor.
Yeah, sure, totally. I think when we do step way outside our comfort zone, you're inherently like you've raised a bar of confidence.
Yeah.
Even if it's like
100%.
weird or embarrassing or like something you'll never do again, you're
Yeah.
like, well, I did that.
Yeah, I did that and it felt good. And
Yeah.
I was like, okay, now I know that I can just get out of my comfort zone. So, saying that, oh, you're just being shitty and rude. No, you're not, because you always give options.
Yesterday, this is actually funny. Speaking of direct, I had an actress in a show that I'm directing right now who's
For Loft?
no, at school, and she seems unhappy. She seems unhappy to be there, and I've heard that she's very unhappy to be in the show and everything like that. But the truth of the matter is that I'm not humoring it. Like I'm not going down that road with them. And so they haven't been performing very well. They haven't been doing a good job in the show, and they haven't been doing their end, which is to do the part. And the reality is they're really good for the part. Like it's really a great part for them. Probably not a better part available for them right now, to be honest with you. And so they really should nail this, right? Because it's actually something they could actually get cast in. I think that's something that a lot of people struggle with. Again, that thing of we can play anything, but really get good at the thing that like you know you're gonna get, right? And so like we're working, and I write down all the notes that I have about the piece that I'm watching in particular. And after, I was just like, okay, I'm gonna be very direct with you because we haven't had this conversation. I know because I've heard from many people how unhappy you are. What I'm gonna tell you is I have a lot of notes about your acting, but none of it actually matters because it all is the fact that you're not actually trying because you're just choosing to be upset.
Yeah.
And you just kind of saw the actress being like, whoa, he knows. And I was like, yeah, I know. And I'm not interested in knowing about it because I don't care that you're unhappy about being in a play. Like, boo-hoo, so sorry for you. Like, right? Like, I'm so sorry that you're in a play. Like, what are we talking? You did to choose this. Yeah. But like, again, you have options. One of them is the door. You can leave. Like, that's an option. And so I was like, that's for sure an option. But also I was like, but I want you to understand, like, you're not working very hard at all. And here's all the list of acting things that I don't believe. Like, you're not believable in this moment. You're not believable in this moment. Your emotion's not connected to this. Your body's not connected to this. So here's all the things that you need to fix just to get in the ballpark. But more than anything, what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave the room. I'm going to go get coffee. I'm going to give you 10 minutes. Yeah. You're either here or you're not here. If you're here when I come back, we'll work. And if you're not, then I'll know that you don't want to do this anymore, and I'll get somebody else. Yeah. Can't be more direct than that. No. Like, I came back. They were there. They owned it. They were like, that's on me. I got to switch the thing up. You're right. I got to do it. I got to hear it. I got to work better. And I was like, cool, let's get to work. Yeah. I don't have to hate you.
No, it's just that easy.
You shouldn't hate me. I didn't do anything to you, right? So, but let's get to the point, which is if you're going to be unhappy, I don't want you here.
So you also audition people, right? And that's one of the questions. So what do you look for in the potential students? What like catches you like, and you go, fuck yeah. Well,
there's two parts to that because I think there's if you're auditioning someone for for getting into a school, which I
Yeah.
do, and then if you're auditioning people for like jobs, it's different.
For school.
School, it's all potential.
All potential.
You're just looking for someone that like is like you can see potential. Potential is something other people see in you, and most people don't live up to their potential. But I think it's really something that people see in you. So you have to come in like excited and you know, hungry and like be nice and like those types of things. Like, right. But like it really is potential. No one's looking for like the perfect early stage student. That's like crazy. Like if it feels, there's been times where I've met some people that were auditioning for as students, and I've been like, you don't need to go to school.
Oh, really?
You need to just go be an actor.
Really?
Yeah. Like you would spend a lot of money getting minutely better. You could get minutely better just in a class. You're really good. Like some people are that good that you're like, you're already like trained for a long time. So you're really looking for potential when it comes to students. And then I think when you're looking for jobs, I'm always like, I teach a lot of audition technique, and it's like, have an opinion as a character. When you're doing a tape or doing an audition, like have an opinion more than anything else.
Yeah.
Like, make us go, oh, that's an interesting opinion. That's a way we haven't.
Yeah.
And it's not light your pants on fire opinion. Like it's not just be weird to be weird.
Yeah.
It's make sure you aren't basic. Like out of 100 people, it's pretty common. Like 70% will be basic bitches, and 20 will be terrible, and 10 will sing a cappella for 10 minutes, and then 10 will be awesome. 10 is what we got to get into is the 10, and 10 will have an opinion.
Yeah.
It's about pretty consistent odds.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, then another question, and I know that we both know the answer to that. Do you think it is more important for casting directors? Okay, do they care more about your looks or your charisma when they're casting? Because a lot of people care, like, what if I'm not pretty enough? And I try to explain that
doesn't matter. No, it doesn't matter.
That doesn't. Yeah.
Looks is as in just what you look like.
Yeah.
Right. Like what you look like. I think there's all kinds of people that can do lots of all kinds of things. It's again sort of going back to direct. It's like, okay, so if you keep submitting yourself for supermodel, and you don't get an audition for supermodel, the world told you, you're not a fucking supermodel, right? Like, sorry, like, you need to start checking yourself a little bit. Now, it could be you didn't take good pictures that make you look like this said supermodel. But odds are, if you're actually like look like a supermodel, then you probably took a good picture, right? So I think that there's always that like concern of like, what do I want to go for? Kind of parts do, and it really, what does the world see me as? And we don't have a say in how the world sees us. So it does come down to looks are part of the equation, but that you're not just like hiding. Like I do a lot of headshots for actors, and I see a lot of, it makes me sad. I see a lot of girls will just come with like a denim jacket. And I'm like, fucking basic, man. Like, and like, unless your type is basic, which is its own thing. And you like know how to be like that, like really funny basic girl. But a lot of the time, it's unfortunate that a lot of times it's because they're like hiding, and that breaks my heart, because I always feel bad, because whether it's a guy or girl, like the confidence is something that you can't teach it, but you can help hopefully get it out of them and get them to get to a place. But I think that that's part of what casting is looking for. They're looking 100%. For someone that like looks like what they need, but then when they get to the next round, which is like, let's see a video, let's see a tape, or let's meet you. Like, do you seem crazy? Can you act? Do you fuck yeah? Are you like, whoa, that person's also awesome? Because like going back to like, I've played a magician a bunch of times, but like everybody that auditioned for those parts looked like they could be a magician, right?
But they chose you.
But they chose me because ultimately, like, then there was something else that I was bringing to the table when it came to the acting side. So that's where like the charisma and the talent, those things come. But like those things come. That's when that starts coming into play, right? My friend says this beautiful thing the other day, and I loved it. He was like, "You can't be a secret and a success."
Exactly. You have to be loud about it with the way you just walk in. That's what I learned from your class, that people just have to enjoy having you on set. People just have to enjoy being around you. And that's what I've developed this kind of thing. Like, I'm not going to call it a mask because it's just me, but I have this casting energy that I'm in. Like, as soon as I enter the room, I make sure everybody's like, whoa, I want to work with her. Like, she's so much fun. Like, same thing when I do my self-tapes. I stopped doing, what is it called? When I slate, I used to, like, a year ago, I used to just be like, hi, I'm Olivia. This is my name. And I'm like, boring bitch. Nobody cares. Yeah. And then I started bringing a little bit of my personality. I'm like, hi, I'm Olivia. And, whenever they ask a question, it's like, oh, can you swim? I'm like, yes, I can swim. And,
right, little charm, little fun, little fun.
Yeah. And I just started booking more. And whenever I walk in, I'm like, yeah, book me because I'm fun.
Yeah.
And I know what I'm doing.
And like, again, I think we can get self-conscious thinking like, I think you're pretty solid about this, but like, I think a lot of people get self-conscious that like, am I coming off like, arrogant, or am I coming off annoying or something like that? And I think that's just where you have to run a line of go like, I don't know, read the room.
Exactly. You just have to feel it.
Read the room. Like, if you're never ever booking anything, well, you might be fucking up the room. You know what I mean? Like, or you might not be standing out at all. You might be like hidden in the corner and we don't know who you are. Like, I can't be like, come on, try. Like,
exactly.
That personality thing goes a big, big, big way.
100%. And it also comes, the more you do it, the more confident you get. Because I remember when I just got signed with my commercial agent, and it was during the strike. So it was, it was like very hard, and I still got it. So I was very happy, and I got my first commercial audition. And I've never auditioned in the US. Remember, we did this mock auditions, but I've never actually auditioned. Yeah. So I went to this audition. For some reason, I was like, they're gonna give me like, we're gonna do it a couple of times. And I was like, and I walk in, and we do it once, and it wasn't bad, but I know it was like,
what'd you have to do?
Just like, just something for a commercial, like, hi, like
something basic. Okay.
Yeah, something basic, right? And it wasn't just as good as it was in my head, right? And they were like, okay, thank you. And I was like,
that's it?
Okay, thank you.
No adjustments? No.
And I remember the first thing I I asked ChatGPT, I was like, do they talk to your agent? Because I was scared he was going to drop me. They call him and like tell him something. I'm like, please don't. No, they don't do that.
And I like how the computer told you that.
Because I was
ChatGPT
I was so scared.
Told you what it's like to be an actor and a casting director and an agent all at the same time.
I was scared.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to call my agent and be like,
God forbid you ask a person.
I ask you questions.
Yeah, I know. But I think that's a very valid, because that's also one of the things that's changed, right? Like our auditions now are watched by our agents and managers.
Oh, they watch them?
Well, of course.
When we go in person?
Well, no, in person's different, right?
Oh, yeah.
But that's what I mean. Like nowadays, if everything is self-taped, they're watching them. They're seeing them. They can see them. They can see them when you upload them, or they can see them when you send them to them. So they're seeing everything you're doing. Whereas before, your work was like up to you, and you went in the room, and then you'd call them and be like, I think it went good. Like, they seem to like me. Like, they're calling me back. Like, whatever. You had a little more like immediate feedback.
Oh, that's awesome.
You had feedback from people. I remember one time I auditioned for this show, dude. I remember auditioning for this show, and I'd never been in this office, and it was for like a lead on a Disney show. And it was a scene with this show. I wanted this character so bad. I love this character so much. And I feel like I would have crushed it. But like, I worked really hard, and it was a very sweet character. He was like the young dad of the main girl, and he had her really young, and he's like trying to raise her by himself, and it was like really sweet. And so there was like a really sweet scene where I'd like cry and stuff, and I was like, got it. That's easy. I got that stuff. And I do it, and the casting director's like, who are you? And she's like, I haven't met you before. And I'd been doing auditions for a long time. I'd been on TV a bunch of times. And she was like, I need to give you a hug. And she got him and gave me a hug. And I was like, okay, that's a first. Like, she's hugging me in the room. And I remember being like, okay, well, I'm pretty sure I booked it then. Like, You don't hug me like unless like I booked it. Like, that's crazy. Like that seems also like wildly unfair to come hug me and tell me how much you liked me for this shit. Yeah. And sure enough, my agent called me like 20 minutes, like not even 20 minutes, like 5 minutes later, and it was like they put you on hold, and I was pinned. I got it was down to me and another guy. It went to somewhere else, but obviously like the hug was like a sign of like we're doing this. But I do remember like immediate feedback. How'd it go? They hugged me, so I think we did fine. We did really good.
That's
no
crazy.
Hugs anymore though.
Well, yeah.
You just throw them out into the. I had to do a Zoom. Yeah. This is weird for a lot of actors. People don't realize. Like, have you done Zoom auditions?
Yeah, I'm never. That is, if I have an option, I'm like, never Zoom, please. It just
so like. Thing. I think because of like private coaching and stuff, I do a lot of private coaching, and so like all of my private coaching is on Zoom.
Oh, okay.
Because I think of it like now I look like if I'm auditioning, I'm like acting like in this box anyway. Yeah. So I'm like, well, I'm already there. I'm focused. I can have a partner and I can give them direct feedback basically on what I'm actually seeing.
Yeah.
So from like that standpoint, it really does work. But I had to do like a chemistry scene, love interest scene with this girl, and we had to be on Zoom. We had to like kiss. That was weird because we weren't together. Yeah. So it was like, what do we do at this moment? Like she's on a screen, I'm on a screen, and there's all these like producers and agents like all on screens, like kind of like watching us. And but I didn't like go into the screen like or anything like that. We just kind of skip it. Yeah. But like it is wild to think like a chemistry read is
chemistry on Zoom.
On Zoom. And I got it.
Oh, you got it?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, congrats.
Yeah, it's a great movie. For When You Get Lost. Go see it. It's an amazing movie.
Go see it.
For When You Get Lost. You can find it on Apple. You can find it on Amazon.
And you can learn English with it.
Yeah. It's a beautiful movie.
Beautiful movie.
Yeah. Yeah. But I remember being on Zoom being like, this is weird.
How do you keep your passion for acting and avoid burning out, especially in such tough industry? And you do a lot of stuff. You teach, you coach and everything.
I think that's probably part of it is just I think people have to remember that this is a choice.
Yeah.
You choose this. Just like the place that we're at right now, where we're shooting this, right? Yeah. Like they chose to do this. Yeah. They chose to open this place. We chose to this isn't Olivia's couch. Spoiler. Like
studio.
Yeah. But like the thing that we have to remember is that we have to keep choosing it.
Exactly.
It doesn't just take care of itself because you chose to move to LA. Right? Like you choose to go to school, you choose to go to auditions, you choose to wake up in the morning, you choose to go to a meeting, you choose not to audition, you choose not to study your lines. You know what I mean? Like and that hit me a few years ago because I do a lot of things, and I it's not like arrogant, but I do typically tend to be a lot busier than most people that I know.
Yeah.
And a lot of that is like self-inflicted. Like I run my own theater company. I run a school. I'm opening a new school. Like I'm also a dad and I'm a husband and I'm in a band and I, you know, I'm a writer and director. And then I'm also acting when I get auditions and stuff. And so I think like there was a couple of years ago where I was doing a show and I was in San Diego and we were doing a show and we were doing it at this venue that I really, really, really have always loved. When I was a kid, I wanted to perform there. It was kind of like a dream venue and we got to perform there. And I was like, we had a great time, big house, lots of people, super fun. After my wife even came to the show, she never comes to shows. So then when she comes, I know it's like a big deal. Yeah. So after the show, we're like selling merch and stuff. And it's like late. It's like 11. Yeah. It's getting late. And I realize I have a rehearsal in LA in the morning at like 8:30 in the morning that I have to be the director of. So and I remember being like, oh God, I don't want to drive to LA tomorrow morning, you know? And my wife was like, don't. You never do. Like you always do. You always, you never are not, you always go. Like you never don't. You never take it off. You know what I mean? Yeah. So everyone would understand if you were just like, I'm not going to go. And that's when I was like, well, that's exactly why I have to fucking go. Fuck. You know what I mean? So then,
now you said it.
Now you said it. And so then I got in the car and I fucking left in the morning and I got to rehearsal. And I remember walking I remember walking into rehearsal, and then I walked in and I was like, hey, how's everybody? One girl was like, I'm tired. And I was like, yeah, you're
Let's talk
tired.
about that.
You're tired.
Yeah,
You want to watch this? I put my schedule on the board for like the week before and the week leading up and the week after. I just threw it like hour by hour. And I was like, so you're fucking tired?
Watch this.
And she was like, whoa. And she started to get really anxious. And I was like, are you getting anxious over my schedule? What the fuck is happening? You don't get to do that. You don't get to get anxious over my schedule. I'm telling you, you're not tired. Okay, let's go. We made a choice. Damn. That really is big though for me on the burnout. Like, I could stop doing this, but then I got to do something else. You know, so you want this, you got to choose this, and you got to keep choosing this.
Exactly. I don't ever. Well, sometimes I also do a lot of things at the same time. And
you don't make a video, no one does. It's true. If you don't make a video, no one's fucking making a video.
Exactly. And the algorithm on TikTok, you have to post every day. I can't just disappear. And even though I'm very tired, sometimes I remember a year ago, I just started blowing up, and I was like, I can't stop posting because I just started blowing up, and people need to see me every day. And I remember I did this. I work as a background for this show, The Studio, and it was so much fun because they included me in the scene, and it was just amazing. And I was there for 2 months, and they needed me like in the morning, and we would work for like 12, 14 hours, right? And I was just so tired. And I was like, I can't go to bed now. I need to film a video. I need to edit it. I need to post it. And a couple of times I was just falling asleep over it. But I was like, no, I need to post it first. Yeah, that's the trick. Like,
big time. Like I went to my wife hates this about myself because I'm like that. Like if I travel or something like that, like I went to Denver recently, and I was like, well, I've never been to Denver. Like, I'm going to go fucking fuck it up and see what's up. Like, I go out one of the nights, and I went out to a restaurant, and then I was like, well, now there's more to Denver to see, so I'm gonna go somewhere else. So I went to like a brewery, and I was like, I'm gonna go to another one, and then I went to another one. This guy comes up to me, and he starts like talking to me, and I was like, this guy's weird, but like he's like, you want to go somewhere? I was like, where? And he was like, I'll just show you around Denver, and I was like, fuck it, let's go. And next thing you know, I'm like going to all these places with Denver with this guy. I ended up in a bowling alley. My wife is like, I'm putting a tracker on you. My wife is like, I'm making sure you come home in one piece because you'll say yes to most things. You're like, fuck it, let's go.
It. But you also, you use your brain,
of
right?
course.
Same thing.
I'm not like, what are these? What are these pills? Like these mysterious things you're giving me.
Let me ask you another question for my little card. People are interested in, what are your top tips for truly getting into character and bringing a role to life?
Don't judge it. I think that's big.
Yeah.
Don't judge it. Don't judge the size of the role. I know that seems obvious, but I watch that a lot. I see a lot of people just like line count and then be like, this couldn't possibly be for me, right? How dare I have 15 lines? But then the actual judging of the morals, the morals of the character. I think that's how fun. I mean, to me, like if I get to play an asshole, then I'm gonna have a lot of fun being an asshole.
Yeah.
I'd love to. I'd love to. Because I get to say things that I might actually think, or just can't normally say, or whatever. It's just the not judging part of it. I see a lot of people get in their head about that. I think imposter syndrome somehow has to come out of the equation, so that you feel like you actually are worthy of doing it. Because I think a lot of people like, I moved to actor LA, I'm claiming it. But you're like, but there's a difference between doing it.
Yeah.
So those are one. Tom Hanks, I recently heard him in an interview, and it kind of, when he said it, I was like, that's exactly what I do. He was like, show up on time, know your lines, have some ideas, but be ready to play. You know, if you've really done your homework at home, you can come in and be ready for whatever.
Okay.
And I think that's the difference in obsession actors, the ones that like love it. Like I just would rather sit at home and make this character right. Yeah. Going back to the kind of original conversation, which was like having this meeting with this guy, it was like, I was like, I want to be able to do this role, but I actually will need some time. As opposed to sometimes some roles I can just kind of like throw it on and do it.
Yeah.
But I will need some time. I'd want to sit at home for a little while. I'd want to sit at home for a couple weeks and like get weird.
Yeah, get weird.
I gotta get weird for a little bit. Like, you know what I mean? I gotta get weird so that I can then come out and feel like, okay, we can go to set and anything can happen. You need me to do it how? You need me to do it where? Which way? This way, sideways, backwards. You know what I mean? And that's, I think when we're really doing it, I keep encouraging people to like keep falling in love with your character.
Okay. And for potential students, right? They haven't done any training yet. They're very new to this, right? But they're very passionate about it. They just don't know the techniques. They don't know how to approach the character. Can you recommend how they should choose material for themselves, how they should approach it? So they know, okay, well, I've told them a couple of times, please play your age, right?
Sure.
If you look like me, you can't play a divorced wife with 3 kids. Like, it's just not going to work, right? Like, what's your take on this?
That's big. I think that's good advice, but I think it's big because they have to have something that connects. Like a lot, when I go around high schools, I'll teach some high school teachers and I'll say like, how many of you guys do Shakespeare? And they all raise their hand and I go, and how much of it sucks? And they all keep their hand up. Well, I was like, because one of the things is like, you guys are doing the hardest work.
Yeah.
And you're giving it to 14 and 15 and 13 and 12 and 14 and 15 and 16 and 17-year-olds that may not even be ever good enough to really do Shakespeare, most likely.
Yeah.
But also they just might not be very interested. It's too hard. It's too far advanced. And that doesn't mean just be like, well, they're dumb and they should. That's not, you have to have them have a moment. They have to connect to something. So I'm like, have them talk on the phone with their friend. Have them order fucking pizza. Have them play a video game. Get them to feel like, oh, this is what it's like to be a character. Because for me, it was getting out of school. I got cast in a show. I got cast as Picasso in this show called Picasso with the Lapin Agile. And I played Picasso at like 20-ish, like early 20s. And I was that age. And it was like he was becoming famous. He was famous, but he was, you know, and so it's a fun play. It was written by Steve Martin, but it was like, you know, but then I remember being in this play and being like, that guy's 60 playing somewhere in 60. That guy's 40 something playing 40 something. And that was the first time that I was like, oh, this isn't college, high school acting anymore. So it's actually much more accessible to them than they realize. Like training goes into like expansive stuff and really pushes you outside of your comfort zone. When they're just starting, they probably shouldn't necessarily jump way outside their comfort zone. They should do like what they look like.
Yeah,
they should play like within dangerous things that I see are like I can't even tell you how many times I've seen someone do like the Joker in my class. Like it's like so annoying. But like it's so obnoxious. I'm like, okay, the next broody guy that came in my class and does like the Joker. I'm like, okay, big guy. I get it. You're just as deep as them.
How was it?
Yeah, it's never been good, just so we're clear. But a lot of that is because I obviously understand, like they saw something and were inspired by something. They saw something, they were like, that's so cool. It's so raw, it's so gnarly. It's so sick. Look how crazy they were. But they're like jumping into the deep end.
Yeah.
Of like how gnarly that role was and how crazy that role was. But they aren't yet good at like being the waiter.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're not good yet at like being the doorman or like answering the phone. But yet they're going to have like a mental breakdown in a insane asylum and like have mommy issues and that they're going to like openly do that, really believe like, right? Like there's so many other layers to this that I just say like, you'll get there when you're able to get there.
When you get there, right? And another question to that. Well, also, yeah, let me ask this. So when international students audition, right? What are the main things that they have to hit? Like the accent, like the accent is not a big problem, but you have to understand them, right?
Yeah,
Clarity has to be good. You know, energy has to be there, right? What are other things that like must be there for you to be like, fuck yeah, you know? Because I remember when I auditioned, big problem was that the person who auditioned me, they couldn't understand me. Cold reading saved me. Yeah. Because I was like, okay, let me. You know.
I slow down. Like there's nothing wrong. Oh, this is big.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe it's just like, I don't know, the teacher in me or something, but like, if you don't know it,
Yeah.
what I said,
Yeah.
ask.
Okay.
Like, I think there's like a fear of like, I didn't understand that. But I actually think more people aren't, most people aren't interested in just like being like, keep up or catch up, bitch. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Where did that come from?
you know what I mean? You're kind of like, if you're like, if I said a bunch of shit and I say a bunch of shit and you're like, sorry, what does that mean?
Yeah.
And I'd be like, oh, no problem. I'll tell you what it means.
Yeah.
In the same way that like, if you and I went to Russia right now and we went to a bar, I'd be like, Olivia, what the hell are they talking about? And if you're like, you keep up or catch up, bitch, I'd be like, what do you mean? Like, you'd help me. I would assume you'd try to help me and tell me what's going on.
Yeah, I would.
So I think that there is something to be said about like, if you're not understanding what they're saying and you're not fully getting it.
Yeah.
I'm curious from your standpoint, because I asked a lot of students about this. It was a few years ago that an international student said this to me, and I think it's important for international students, especially if English is not the first language.
Yeah.
Do you find, or did you find when you first started that you were tired at the end of the day more than you had been before?
Just because I had to speak English all day?
Yeah, so the student was talking about it, and then I brought it up to a couple other international students. The idea was like, and I never thought about it. It's like, okay, so they're going through the day just like everybody else, but their brain is literally trying to translate all day.
Yeah.
And they're trying to keep up with jokes, and they're not keeping up 100% across the board. Maybe they're only keeping up with like 50 sometimes. I've had some students that I'm like, are you keeping up at all? But like, right? Are you even here? But then like, maybe you're getting 70, but 75% is dog shit when you think about like retaining information. You're like, that's a C in like life, right? So like, so C, you're kind of getting it.
Yeah.
And then by the time you get home, 5, 6 o'clock, they're like, I'm like physically tired.
Yeah. You know what? I recently read about this study, the whole study about how much we can do in one day and not get tired. That's why you have to do hard things in the morning, so that you like, your brain is like, okay, we did everything hard. Now we can chill and do like smaller things. Because, you know, we like wasted every single time, like, what am I going to eat? You know, every little thought.
Right.
And when you just, for example, when I just got here, right? Like I had to translate everything in my head, every single thought. I was like, oh my gosh, how am I gonna word this right now? Is grammar there? You know, I need to think about my accent, so many things. So yes, first 2-3 months when you have to like adjust and make your brain think in English, it is very hard. Yes, I would say so.
And like, maybe even like literally physically tired.
Yeah, you're just tired. You just get tired and you're like, yeah, I'm gonna go make something to eat.
And maybe they don't even know it. Like they were like, a lot of internationals don't realize it. They're like, why the fuck am I so tired?
Yeah.
And so I think that's also just like sort of a heads up. Like as he catches up, as you catch on, like here you are talking like fast now and like going, right? Like, you know.
Being all cool. Do my little TikToks.
Yeah. But so now it's not the same.
No, because I've spent so much time here and I mainly use English now.
Right.
It is actually hard for me to speak in Russian. Everybody making fun of me. They're
Really?
like, oh, bitch, can you pick one language? I'm like, can you speak English?
Yeah. Do you, when you talk to your parents? Of course you do, but like, do you speak in Russian?
I have to speak in English, and they don't. They don't speak English, and sometimes I just have to say things in English because it's hard for me to word proper Russian now. And they're like, what is that?
That's so interesting.
Yeah, that's just because, you know, that's, yeah. And sometimes I get hate for this. And I'm
sure.
like, and that's so stupid. They're like, oh my gosh, you're so annoying. I'm like, yeah, and you're still watching.
Yeah, and you're still watching. Attention, though.
Yeah.
Attention is the currency.
Yeah. So I don't mind. But actually, 99% of my audience, super sweet. Super sweet. They're like, please keep doing that because we'll learn English with you. So, yeah.
Oh, sorry. I think, sorry, I put that anywhere. I think when you're talking, I mean, at least I would hope so, just from like a superficial standpoint, that like when you're making the videos and stuff, that like that you're doing it, one, because you're having fun.
100%.
So like, of course, right then. Two, that it's people are enjoying it. Like that's the one part I can't really understand with social media, because that's where I start thinking like people are like the psychos, and I'm not really interested in the ones that are like, I'm only doing this because I get hate.
Oh.
Right? There's people that like troll all day.
Oh, yeah,
or like
yeah.
they just make terrible things,
Yeah.
or they just try to do very divisive material or something like that, solely because they're getting paid. So it's one thing to get paid, and it's another thing to do it because you're like, I enjoy it, I'm having fun doing it.
Yeah.
And then the other part is like, I'm hoping that some people just are having fun and entertained, or like me, or are
100%.
fans of me.
Yeah.
Inevitably,
Yeah.
whenever you put yourself out there,
Yeah.
you are also putting yourself out there
Yeah.
for the criticism that comes along with it. And so whatever, you're not doing it for those people. The weird thing in today's world is that you can do it for only people that don't like you.
Yeah.
That's so strange to me.
Yeah. I mean, I understand that only because they make money out of it.
Yeah.
That's the only reason. But when I just started doing it,
Strange way to make money.
it's a strange way to make money. But when I started doing it, I could, because I have an American based account, I could monetize it right away. But I hadn't been doing it for like 8 months because I was just enjoying making content. The way I see it, I always say whenever I see something like hateful, I'm like, well, hurt people try to hurt.
Of course.
And they, and they just get fun from it. It just makes them feel good. And I also say, my spirit irritate your demons. Because if I'm having fun and I'm having a good time and people go like, oh, you make me feel so much better about my day, about myself, because just like the way you're so positive, right?
Yeah.
And somebody goes like, your smile is fake. You're smiling too much. I'm like, yeah, you got something dark within yourself,
Sure,
honey.
go away. Like,
Yeah.
But I get that. But that, I mean, that's a sweet phrase. My spirit is
You know who I
irritating
got
your
it
demons.
from Young Thug.
My spirit is it irritating your demons? Is that what you said?
Yeah. He said like, my spirit irritate your demons. That's why you act the way you act.
I like it. I like it.
Yeah, that's
though.
a good one,
That's a
right?
good one. That's funny.
That's funny, right?
It's kind of like very direct. Hey, motherfucker.
You can
Shut
use
up.
it from now on.
I did an audition technique class the other day for 20-something seniors that are about to graduate college. And all of them were like admitting, they were like, I've never actually auditioned in front of a person before. Or I've never sat in a lobby and waited with other actors. Things that were so normal. They're like, I don't know how to social. I haven't thought about what I'm wearing today because I went through high school in my pajamas. And I often just wear the same thing every day now too. And they're not thinking about the effects that all those things are having when they come into an audition, or when they do an audition, or when they get it in on time. So there's a behind that's kind of there.
Yeah.
That's very real.
Interesting.
They're behind. And I would say like your class that you graduated with was kind of that group that was like right on that cusp of like they finished high school and then it happened. And so we got them then. We were all having to navigate weird school with masks and stuff.
Yeah, that was weird. But the thing about us, when we came back, when we did like first year in person, and we deferred and came back, we were just very hungry.
To do something.
To act. Like we were just so in it,
Yeah.
So it was so much fun, my year.
There's a resilience, at the baseline. If people get anything from any of this, I brought in a guest the other day to my class, and I was talking, he said all these great things and all these cool ideas for students and everything. And I kind of summed it all up. I was like, honestly, if you guys get nothing else out of me, like the only option is to be tough. And so if we're not tough and working towards tough, then we should just do something else. And that comes from a level of resilience and willingness to push through. Like just because you're having a distressing moment doesn't mean that you're having a mental health crisis.
Exactly.
And we've been dealing with that. Students will just be like, I'm just, I need a bed day. And I've really pushed back on that in some ways, because they'll be like, I need a mental health day. I never heard this phrase before until 5 years ago. And my thought of it is like, okay, fine, I'm going to let you have that. But you're telling me you're the doctor. And you're telling me you know what the diagnosis is, and you're telling me you know what the medicine is. Your medicine is that you're just going to do whatever it is that you're going to do, sit at home, probably on your phone if we're being honest. But then all I expect is that you come back better than the next day. That has to be the option. Or you need to actually go to the doctor, because I'm not the one that's going to fix you. You have to fix yourself through this. And if you're just going to claim that you can sit at home and fix it, then Okay, then tomorrow you're better,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Like, because in the same way that I was telling you about my wife, I was like, I don't want to go to
Yeah.
thing, and she was like, well, then don't. I could have easily just sat at home, sat in the sun, had a cocktail or two, and just been like, what a day, a day off, I earned it. But I would have earned it.
Yeah.
But I'm seeing that on a different level now, and so getting people to kind of get past this like distressing moment is not an excuse to
Exactly.
tap out all the time.
Exactly. That's why I promote a lot on my platform, and I think that's very beneficial for actors to spend time by yourself, to know how to be by yourself.
Be
Because
alone.
whenever I ask, they're like, "No, I'm gonna go with my friend or with my boyfriend." I'm like, "Spend time by yourself. Grab a book. Go. We have a beach right here.
Yeah.
Like you all have cars. Just go. And it also just helps you to be in the mental space of like, I don't need anyone to come and save me. I got myself."
It's big. I drive a lot, and I think a lot of people are like, "Oh, you spend a lot of time in the car," and I was like, "I do," and I wish I didn't spend as much time as I do in the car.
Yeah.
But there is a lot to be said about what you just said about make sure that you can spend time with yourself and that you don't feel like a piece of shit when you are by yourself.
Yeah.
Like you can be happy, just like go on a walk, or going to the beach, go do something. You know what I mean? That part, the beach part, blows my mind. By the way, like. Remember, like when I first started working with actors, I remember this like broody kid was like, on my first day, I was like, "So, what's your favorite thing to do in LA?" And he was like, "Nothing." And I was like, "What do you mean nothing?"
Yeah.
He's like, "No, he'd been here for like a couple of years," and he's like, "I don't go anywhere. LA doesn't get me." Like, okay, like LA's a person or something. And he's like, "It doesn't get me." It's just like the most stupid narrative to make. And I was like, "Well, when was the last time you went to the beach?" And he was like, "I haven't." And I was like, "Ah, fuck you then."
Yeah.
You've been here for 2 or 3 years. You've never been to the beach. Like, that's your problem, dude. Like, you realize we're only here because of the beach. Like, everybody found the beach and was like, I think I'm going to live here. And like, we just do our best in life to get closer to it. And you're just never going to go experience this free thing that's available. And you're wondering why you're such a fuck. like you're an asshole because you're like miserable. Go get some sun.
Go connect with nature. Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
get out a little bit.
Get out.
It's
Yeah,
big. Big for here. I'd say that's definitely the biggest shift right now is getting them. And then also for a lot of young actors, like this is probably more for like teachers and stuff, the willingness to adapt to that we're doing and what the world is like verticals and whatever. Like teach new styles.
Yeah.
Teach new ways that people are doing it. And I think that's really scary for a lot of teachers. It's like, well, what about theater? And I'm like, well, I come from theater and I have a theater. Like, I'm not the guy that is like boo on it. But I'm also aware of the fact that less and less people are going to theater and less people are interested in theater and less people are able to do it. There's not a lot of money in it and there's not a living to be made in it. So you got to kind of go like, well, what are people doing? And what do people want to do? Do they want to jump online? Do they want to find a way to create a different narrative for themselves? They want to find another way to be entertaining. And get paid to be entertaining. And instead of like poo-pooing it and being like, that's not, we do Hamlet only. Like, all right, well, how's that working?
Yeah.
You know,
be more open.
Yeah. You getting paid being Hamlet in your room?
Yeah.
And that's what people probably going to see that and be like, how dare this man? Whatever.
How are we ending this?
That's the episode.
Oh, that's the episode. Don't be rude. Be direct.
Don't be rude.
Mr. Chambers, I will never call you Adam. That's crazy.
It makes me feel old, but at the same time, like, I get it.
I met you 6 years ago and I called you Mr. Chambers.
I know, and everybody does. Like I was on set with a bunch of students yesterday, and like they had me like they were making a movie, and they were like kept being like Mr. Chambers, and I was like, dude, I'm just in the scene with you, bro. Just Adam in this room.
No, I remember when.
But they were like never. They were like not a chance.
No, because when we did, we did the second year this crazy play. Then we were just laughing all the time. Yeah.
That was funny.
That was crazy.
We had a good time with that.
That was so much fun.
What was the name of that show? It was like
Play On.
Play On.
And I remember you were like, you can call me Adam, you can call me Mr. Chambers. So I was like, Adam, no. I'm not calling you Adam. That's not your name. Yeah. Your name is Mr. Chambers.
That's fine.
Mr. Chambers, thank you for coming to my podcast.
This was fun.
That was so much fun.
I had so much fun. I didn't know that we would talk for 2 hours, but wow, did we ever. It'd be cool if one of these like moments that I said inspirational things actually like clicked and people were like sharing that shit.
And just start making edits with you.
Yeah, like if I get a meme of me being like,
I've become a meme. Did you know that?
Really?
On the internet, yeah.
So you got to send it to me. If I become a meme of like, you know, motivation or something, that would be awesome.
That would be awesome.
But it'll probably just me being like, fuck off.
That's very motivational for me, to be honest.